afternoon. My name is Melissa Roy, and I'm the college's Chief Diversity Officer. Welcome to Our Voices, International Student Perspectives. Through this discussion, some of our international students will share their thoughts about the pursuit of equal treatment, intersectionality, and RCC's campus climate. This is the 7th discussion in Our Voices series. It began in 2020. Through the Our Voices panel discussions, we aim to empower marginalized communities, create greater understanding among the campus community, and address inequities. I anticipate an interesting discussion today. Before we continue, I will remind you to please remain muted until asked to speak. If you have questions, there will be an opportunity to ask them later in the program. Feel free to ask questions using the chat function at any time. We are recording today's program and will post it on the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion website. Now I will turn the program over to Dr. Bart Grachan, the Interim Vice President of Enrollment Management and Student Affairs, who is serving as the moderator for today's discussion. Bart?
Thank you very much, Melissa. Welcome, everyone. We're very glad to have you here today. I am very excited to start peppering this panel with some questions and find out more about our international students here on campus. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the group, and I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves, their name, where they're coming from, and what their major is or what other activities they are engaged with on campus. So the first one up is Cali Nell. Cali, introduce yourself, please.
Hi, so my name is Cali. I'm an international student from South Africa. I'm currently studying liberal arts, math and science pre-med track, so I'm an honors student. I am also on a lot of committees here at RCC. I'm also a student ambassador. I'm part of the SGA, which is the Student Government Association. I'm part of the Student Activities Board. I'm on the Quality Life, which is the faculty campaign that they have here. I am also on NSLS, which is the Leadership Society. I am on President Society. I am chairperson for Habitat for Humanity, vice chairperson for Christian Fellowship. And I think that's all. Thank you.
And that wraps up our time. Thank you, Cali. Thank you very much, Cali. Very glad to meet you. Although I should tell everybody, full disclosure, I know Cali and Pascal, and they work in the admissions office, so I walk past them about 37 times a day. Michelle, you are up next.
So ironically, you put the two South Africans together. So I am Michelle. I am also from South Africa. Cali and I have been friends for quite a while before we came to school together. I'm sorry, the street team is calling me. I am on the street team. And they like to call me randomly at times, especially when I'm on a very important meeting. I am also an executive board member of the SGA, and I'm on a slew of different committees, groups, and organizations on the school. So I am not going to take 10 years to say all of that because I can't remember any of it. Mostly because I have back-to-back meetings like the whole day today, which is great. But yes, so that's, and I'm studying business administration in the honors track. It is my 3rd or 4th semester now. And as not all of my credits transferred, it's joys of being an international student. So I unfortunately have to take more classes to make up for that, which is why I'm taking longer than 2 years.
Thank you very much. All right, Roda, how about you?
Hi everyone, I'm Roda Cabrera. I'm originally from the Philippines, and this is my first semester here in RCC. I'm in a undecided nursing program, so I'm trying to pursue with my nursing career. And this is my 3rd year here in the US. Thanks.
Very nice. Pascaline?
Hi, did you call on me?
Yep.
Okay. Hi everyone, my name is Pascaline Motosho, or you could also call me Amatayo, which is my first name. And I'm in my last semester at RCC, and I'm in the business honors track, and my major is in business administration. Sorry. And I'm currently the Vice President of Student Government Association and the President of National Society of Leadership and Success. And I also volunteer with the Connection Center when I'm free. And I'm also very active on campus. And I'm also a student ambassador in the street team and the admissions office also.
Pascal, you forgot one very important thing, though.
The President's Society.
No, it's your birthday. Happy birthday,
Oh my
Pascal.
Lord. So,
And Millen,
thank you. Thank you so much.
you're very welcome. Millen, go ahead.
My name is Milan Paulos. I'm Indian, but I lived in the UAE and I've been in America for about 3 years now. I am studying liberal arts, humanities, and social science. I am in the honors program, but I'm not working for the honors diploma because I'm only here for a year. What else? Yeah, okay. So I work at the Reading and Writing Center. I'm a peer tutor. I'm also an intern for Lumen Learning, which is how I know Raffaellini and Pascaline. And what else? I volunteer in my spare time at the food pantry at RCC, and I'm also a member of the NSLS.
Excellent. Well, thank you all very much for introducing yourselves. I'm gonna reverse direction now with our first question, which is really what motivated you to come to go to college in the United States? Tell us how you got here. Like, have you been here? Some of you have been here longer than just college. Did you just come for college? What got you to RCC in that process? So Millen, let's start with you since you finished up that first round.
Well, I actually moved here with my family because a lot of my other family members were here, like my cousins. But so after I moved to the US, I moved a couple of times within the US. So I originally was in New York, but then I moved to Texas and then I came back to New York. So then there were like residency issues and RCC seemed like a great option. So that's why I'm at RCC and I'm really sad to leave. So yeah, this is my second last semester, like summer is my last semester. I love RCC.
That's right. You still get to participate in the commencement, right? You're almost done. You got no credits left. Boulder Stadium this year. We're very excited. So Pascaline, how about yourself? How did you end up at RCC? What motivated you to come to college in the United States?
I feel like throughout my life, education has always been like a serious thing for me. I've always been very passionate about it and always looking for the next step to keep growing. And my mom actually came to RCC 4 years ago when I relocated from Nigeria. And she absolutely loved it. She had such a great support system. She always like would come home, especially being an adult learner with kids in a new country, and also like always share good stories of people she met and experiences that she had. And I feel like I definitely fed off that energy because I was planning to go to college in Canada, but COVID happened. And I feel like it really made me look around me to see what was valuable, like RCC, that I wouldn't like, sometimes we take things for granted. And I decided to explore RCC and see the options that I could actually try out and see how I could make myself better. And so that was why I applied to RCC and have joined the honors program and have been able to like experience meaningful relationships, experiences, internships, and make great connections. And I feel like it's definitely one of the best decisions I've made.
Great, thank you. Michelle?
So I have a bit of a complicated story. I was here for 2 years in 2014. I professionally nannied a special needs child and in his family. And I came back in 2018 once I had finished my cosmetology degree in South Africa. I came back knowing that New York was kind of my home, even though it technically wasn't. And I came back to the family. And that's actually how I met Cali, was through that program. And then I knew that I was going to just change over to a student visa because I really wanted to study and I was never afforded the opportunity to study. And initially, I actually wanted to go to Nyack College and just something told me not to go. I went through the interview process. I was accepted. I was done everything. And I'm like, you know, this is not where I should be. I should be at RCC. I don't know why, I just had that gut feeling. I much appreciate that gut feeling now because I've had such an incredible time. And my now husband has already afforded me to have that opportunity and to be able to not stress about like everything else, but to really focus on my studies. And even though like I've gone through all these health issues, RCC has been like the most accommodating place, and it's been fantastic.
Excellent, thank you, Michelle. Cali?
So just to piggyback, Michelle, yes, I also came on a cultural exchange program. I've been in the States for quite a long time now. Once I had completed that program, I joined RCC because of Michelle. She came to me one day and she's like, I joined this college, it's fantastic, you should join too. So I'm like, okay, why not? Since I was younger, I've always known that I wanted to go into the medical field. To be more specific, to join Doctors Without Borders. So I looked further into it and saw that I really enjoy surgery. So I'm on the track to becoming a surgeon. I started working as an EMT when I was 16, so I got used to it in South Africa, but the education there is not so great. And also you can take international education, like you can take education from the US internationally. So for me, it was a better option to study here. And Michelle really helped me get onto that path, and she really helped me to get enrolled in RCC.
Great. So surgery. So the 2 years of wearing a mask have just been practice for you then. Here, this is furthering your education with us. Okay.
Yeah.
So all right. So off script question, because I think several of you are almost done, right? So how many of you are planning on transferring next year? Okay. Where are you going, Cali? Where are you headed? Do you know yet?
So I have applied for Stanford and I got in on a full scholarship, but I'm looking to go to Penn State, and I'm also looking at applying to Johns Hopkins.
Okay. Well, we'll just keep that little school in California on the back burner for the time being with the full ride to Stanford. Congratulations, Pascaline. Where are you headed?
As of right now, I'm currently headed to Bart College to complete my bachelor's and master's degree.
Outstanding. And Millen, where are you headed?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay, all right. We got plenty of time. All right, so the next question, and Callie, I'm coming back to you again. In what ways does RC, no, I'm sorry, wrong question. What kinds of challenges are unique to international students? So what have you guys had to face as international students that your fellow students may not have to deal with on a regular basis, do you think?
So for me, I think because I had already been in the States, I didn't really experience as much, but I housed with a lot of international students, so I got to see what they went through, and especially like homesickness. So that was very big because they were coming away from their families and they were like alone, and the cultural shock really got them into a deep depression. And I think like for us, that's a huge thing, the depression and just looking after our mental health, because it's really difficult, especially with the time zone difference. For me, I barely have time to contact my family just because South Africa is 6-7 hours difference. When I'm in school, they are awake, and then when I finish school, they are sleeping, and when I'm sleeping, they're awake. So our schedules just don't align up. So for me, definitely like that was very difficult to like grasp, because it's just a matter of communicating with family back home, and then also like being here, you miss a lot of important events. Like a lot of my family members have gotten married or are having babies, and it's like I can't be there for those events, and for me like family is very important. So it's been a very emotional ride on that.
Absolutely. Michelle, how about you?
Well, considering I'm the liaison with international students, I can talk about this the whole day. I'm just gonna do one big thing, is because we were just doing the SGA budget right before this, and our biggest thing is scholarships for international students. International students have to pay double tuition for SUNY colleges. That is not a SUNY, that is not a college thing, but a SUNY thing. It is what it is, and it kind of really sucks a lot. And you know, if the school goes up by $200, it's going up by $400 or $500 for us, and it's not always feasible. So my thing is not having enough international specific scholarships. The SGA funds one, and Cali and I fought very, very hard to make that a lot higher than what it currently is. And we have maybe 2 other scholarships for international students specifically, but a lot of scholarships are specific for not necessarily for Americans, but they exclude international students, F1 students specifically. And I'm on an F1 visa, and so is most of everyone. And that can be really tough, you know, and being able to come, we can only work 20 hours a week on campus. And, you know, unless you have an amazing sponsor, which is possible, you know, and a lot of times your sponsors kind of like dip on you. Cali and I have both experienced that. And now you're left with a huge bill, and you have to kind of figure that out. So having the support from your family, which is, you know, very important, And the time difference is really hard, like Callie was saying, but also kind of the funding and being able to be here and the money, you know, because you can always have a 1-year plan, and sometimes that 1-year plan doesn't work. And sometimes that money that's promised to you suddenly gets taken away, especially with COVID.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Rhoda, how about yourself? What have you faced as an international student?
Well, the diversity itself is not a comfortable voyage to get into. Well, the idea that you're far from your family and loved ones and facing different world you're new with is quite challenging for me. And some of like the experience that I've experienced when I first got here in the US are like I'm adjusting with the food, with the culture, and a lot more. And in a regular basis too. Sometimes I'm having trouble with catching up with the regular conversation. And, you know, like sometimes you're having a hard time expressing yourself in a way that what your mind is trying to say, because you're trying to find some terms and English words to use, you know, like the process. It's quite tough, but, you know, it's a challenge. So that's it.
Absolutely. No, English is about as arbitrary a language as there is. There's no rule that you cannot break in English with regularity. So absolutely. Pascal, and how about yourself?
I feel like everyone has basically said most of the major challenges that international students face, but I think for me, it was definitely my accent mostly. I felt like when I came to America, it was really hard, especially in high school. I would always have to like write things out to people because like they wouldn't understand what I'm saying. And then I had like this great teacher who would stay after school with me and like go over things to pronounce them in the American way and spell them, because I spelled things in the British way, just because most African countries spell things in the British way and pronounce things like that. So I feel like that was a major impact. And she honestly did like a big favor for me, because since then I've been able to like not change myself or not change who I am, but I've been able to like communicate with people better without having to repeat every single thing like every second. And I feel like that's a major thing that a lot of international students face, and they don't even like it. You kind of get used to it, that you don't really notice that or you don't pay attention to it.
Absolutely. Millen, how about yourself?
Like Pascal said, I mean, almost everything has been addressed, but I think mostly it's the culture shock and the belonging part of it that's just so hard, because like I said, I am Indian, but I didn't live in India for more than 6 months at a time. So like while I was in UAE, where they don't grant citizenship, I was a non-resident Indian, and then now moving like, but all my friends related to me because we were all Indians who weren't in India, right? But now after moving here, I'm different from them again, so there's nobody I relate to, and there's no belonging. I don't like, I have an identity, but I don't feel like I know anybody else that relates to me, and I guess that gets really hard. But RCC does a terrific job because everyone's so accepting of like all your differences, like especially at the Reading and Writing Center. I say things that are like way different from what they say, like I pronounce stuff differently, but in high school it wasn't always like that. And it would be like simple things, like I'd say respiratory instead of respiratory, and people would have no idea what I'm saying. And it's just I guess like when you say things differently, when you do things differently, it gets really hard to feel like you're making friends. You know, you're just a different girl.
Absolutely. So let's stay with you for a second, Millen, and you touched on something supportive here at RCC. So are there other examples of how RCC has done a good job for you in supporting you as an international student?
Well, that's basically, it's just, I guess it's the way how everybody feels. I think it's just going back to high school, I felt like everybody else was just different from me, and they were all this one school that I did not belong to. But in RCC, it feels like since every person is so different in their own ways, we're all the same because we're all so different, you know? And I meet people of like, they talk differently, they all like say different things, they're from different places, they dress differently. It's all like, that's how RCC helps me the most. I don't face a lot of other issues. It was mostly just the belonging that was a problem with me, and I guess that's the one that RCC deals with the best.
Absolutely. Thank you. Pascal, how about yourself? Do you have any examples of how RCC has been supportive for you as an international student?
I have numerous, but for one, I'll definitely say when my mom went to RCC, she took advantage of the connection center and she would go there and get like food. And she didn't look at the fact that, you know, there's this stigma that people look at when you say you're going to like get food from a food cupboard. She just went there and she would take extra and give to people who also needed it. And especially during COVID, I think that was really helpful because that helped us save some money on like food and other things that we could be spending the money on. And I would say like the tutoring center, because recently, like last semester, I had to use it for my calculus class. And I never thought I would actually go for extra help because I thought I was pretty good with math. But the tutoring center was an absolute help because I was struggling and my tutor was really nice. He was very, very flexible. He worked with my hours and it helped me to make sure that I got a really good grade in my class. So, and it was free. I didn't have to pay a dime. So I was very, very happy. That saved me money. And I would also say like the resources, RCC has so many resources. I feel like, you know, students don't really read their emails or they don't check those things. So they don't know how much we have or how much we offer. I feel like it's just a matter of putting yourself out there and telling someone that you need help and they'll point you in the right direction. So I think there's so many. And also joining SGA, that definitely gave me a voice. I feel like being able to help other students and, you know, come up with ideas or work on projects to benefit students is a way for me to also feel very fulfilled as a person. So RCC gave me that chance to be able to do that. And there are many more, but I'm just gonna stop there.
leave some for our South African contingent at the end there. The I will say on the email thing, there are days where I feel like printing out about 1,000 copies of an email we're sending out, just walking around campus and handing it to people in the hopes that that'll improve our open rates. But yes, I hear what you're saying. Rhoda, how about yourself?
Um, I can like really appreciate how RCC, you know, supports and celebrates differences in terms of culture and you know, ethnicities of students. And especially I love when it came here, I appreciate the healthy social environment, you know, like between the students and the staffs. And for me, it's a healthy environment as an international student because we could learn and we could learn to adjust, and the transition is not that harsh because we are in an environment that is helpful. And was said, like the tutoring, the student success is like really a good tool that we need to take advantage to because they offer, and it's like really helpful for international students.
Thank you very much. Michelle?
My story is a little different again. I joined the street team kind of right when I joined RCC. Corey actually sent my blog, which I thought wasn't known to anyone, to Amanda, and Amanda interviewed me, and I've been part of the street team since then. And the street team was an incredible source, you know, resource. They helped me. They made sure that I was okay being an international student. They dealt with a lot of international students, and when I needed help and when I needed everything, they were there. And then I joined the SGA, and because I really wanted to make a difference with international students, because I feel like sometimes our voices aren't heard. And we had an international mixer last October or November, and we're actually having one tonight. And there's free pizza, so you should go. And I think having that connection and be able to really just talk to other students, you know, students don't have, international students don't necessarily have people that are the same as them. You know, it's not always that you have another South African that grew up in an area near you that is kind of the same as you. Most of the time you're by yourself and no one understands your individual you know, your individual homesickness. Like Pascal and I are both from Africa, but we come from very different parts of Africa, and how we can relate, but we can't always relate. So finding someone, you know, a group of people where you're able to relate but not relate at the same time is really helpful. And them helping you with resources and you helping them with resources, which kind of happened. It was kind of the best thing. And we're making a lot of changes in the international realm from the SGA.
Excellent, thank you. Cali?
I think for me, I really want to highlight like how helpful Corey has been throughout the whole process that I've been at RCC. So a month into me starting at RCC, I lost my sponsorship. It was one of the hardest things I had to do, but Corey was extremely supportive in that, and she really helped me like find the funding that I needed in order to continue on. And she helped me get to basically where I am today by being very supportive of it. And also another thing is for me, by joining a lot of things. So I became a student ambassador, which means I also had somewhat a lot of power with students because I could use my like way of word of mouth and like just getting students aware that there are international students on board and there is like that we actually are here and we do exist, especially with my accent. So different parts of South Africa have different accents. A lot of people have highlighted that to me as well. I have more British accent than what Michelle does. And so often I get people asking me, are you from Britain? This and that and that. So it's like, it's very cool because I get to say, no, I'm actually South African. And then people will ask me about my culture. And I really like that because then I get to share that part because it's not really made known of here in America because everyone is just, there's so many different cultures coming together that everyone just seems like a big family. So yeah, so definitely also being a part of clubs, to highlight the SGA and then President's Club. It really brings great opportunity for international students because we get to be the voice of those who don't even know those things exist. So when international students come here to RCC, a lot of them take the first semester to adjust. So they don't know about the resources, they don't know about the different like groups that we have here, the different, like we have an international club, and I don't know if a lot of students know about that. So we have a lot of clubs, but because they're coming, they're going through that cultural shock. So because I'm so far into my school already, I get to be their voice that they can't really have and get to share like their opinions. And I get to speak with them because a lot of them struggle with the English because it is their second language. They're coming from international countries. So I get to essentially be their translator and be a voice for them.
Excellent. Thank you, Kelly. So change direction a little bit on this one. Is there anything that RCC could be doing a better job of to support international students? We had scholarships mentioned before by Michelle. I know that one. Go ahead, Callie.
Okay, so I would definitely like for the counseling center to reach out to international students. I'm not sure if many of you are aware, but the SGA, it's kind of my project for the semester. I'm starting an International Friends program. So the International Friends program is a program that essentially we are going to create to be like a buddy system for the international students, because when students come here, they're not always going to go to the counselors. They're not always going to go to, say, for example, Korea or Virginia. They're not going to go to them. They go to their friends first. So that way, if we have the buddy system going, they will at least have a friend already on campus. And this will essentially provide extra support for them to speak to somebody while being there. So definitely the counseling center and the connection center so that they can know that those resources are available for them.
Excellent. Michelle, how about you?
I definitely think what Callie has said, we've spoken about this very, very much in depth. And it's just being like putting yourself out there, you know, the connection center, the counseling center, the food pantry, putting yourself out there. For the longest time last semester, international students didn't realize that they were able to go to the food pantry because they thought it was just for Americans. And when we talk about international students, I don't want it to be exclusively F1 students, but international students that are from like Haiti who are protected by that law, which I cannot remember because we spoke about it. And there's other international students, there's people that are here, you know, they're not here legally, which makes them an international students. And you know, making sure that they know that they have rights and they have resources available to them, because most of us can really help with counseling. You know, we always need help. And thank you, Liz. And we need to have those things like not available to us because they are available to us, but like thrown out there, which is what we tried to do last semester. And we actually had quite a few people sign up for like health insurance and for the counseling center. And there's been so many more international students at the food pantry when the food pantry is open. And that's really amazing. And I'm hoping to really kind of push that more out there at my time here.
I like what you're saying. The expansion of the conversation, basically. International students in higher education is always typically referred to F1 or J1 students, that kind of conversation. But you know, students who are from other countries is really what you're talking about, and kind of expanding the basis for that, right? Okay, I like it. Rhoda, how about yourself?
Well, RCC is really doing a good job for me in supporting international students. Maybe like we could just work with advertising with those activities or celebration and sources, so it could reach to like each international student, so they will gonna be aware, because those like activities could help us to feel like we're not alone, that we feel we belong in some community, and like we're not alone. Some people experiencing pretty similar things too that we're experiencing right now, and we can build a relationship with other international student. And belongingness is a feeling of very courage and good thing, like we have a voice too.
Excellent. Thank you. Pascal, how about you?
Honestly, I think everyone said everything. The biggest thing for me, I think RCC is doing a good job. It's just the scholarship that Michelle has already been working on. But other than that, I feel like, with Michelle and Cali working on like projects, especially the mixer and all of this events to bring awareness to international students and create a way for them to be able to be in contact with each other and connect with each other on a level that, for you to be an international student, I mean, it's easier for you to understand because you're also in the same shoes. I feel like they're already working on that aspect. The scholarship and financial aid is just like the other big thing that, I feel like if that's raised, or if we could find more funds for international students, RCC would be on like a really good spectrum, or like on a really good place for international students.
Excellent. Thank you. And Millen, how about yourself?
Like I said, I've had only good experiences at RCC, so I don't have many. But I guess the only thing I'd say is we could like incorporate more of, like, if we could ask students to talk more about their own cultures in classrooms or their experiences in classrooms. I guess that would definitely bring about some level of differences. Like people might feel like, oh look, I mean, oh wow, that's something I didn't know before, because we have, like, whether we realize or not, certain ideas of what other cultures are like that may or may not be right. And I guess just talking about them in class, it doesn't have to be part of the syllabus, but just every once in a while, that might make somebody feel like, oh, they care about where I come from, they care about what I have to say.
Excellent. Thank you very much. All right, so here's the big one. What advice would you have for an incoming international student? Millen, we'll start with you again.
I would tell them to go to the international student mixer thing, which I have never done, because I hear it's great. And I just wish I went. I just never, like, it wasn't good with my schedule, so that's why I couldn't go. But I want to go. I would tell them to definitely join a few clubs, and also talk to your professors. RCC has been great when it comes to like your peers and professors. Dr. Lynch is here. She's my honors mentor, and she has been fantastic. She makes me feel like this is such a great place, a safe place to go. Yeah, and even Dr. Lukander, Dr. Nolan, like so many professors, they genuinely make me feel like where I come from matters. Like they probably know more about India than I do, but they want to hear about what I have to say. So it just talk to your professors, talk to your peers, join clubs, go to the mixer.
It's good advice. Pascal, how about you?
I'll definitely say for me, it's to put yourself, if you're an international student, I'll definitely say put yourself out there and be willing to try new things and be open to suggestions. And, especially in a new place, or like in a, I don't want to say strange, but in a different country, be willing to explore different ideas and see what people have to say. And at the end of the day, it's left to you to decide what you want to do. But just putting that first step and just putting yourself out there definitely makes you seem welcoming. And then, you know what? You're open to more opportunities and a better life full of experiences.
I think you were okay with strange country in any sense of the word. I think you were okay there from go. You were fine. Rhoda, how about yourself?
Well, as an international student, we have this pressure in us that we need to do like great and like do our best. But I will say, don't forget to enjoy while learning and exploring new things here, and living in the US. I know it sounds scary that, to get involved with other students, like joining a clubs, but it's not that bad. Starting by little means that a single step is engaging others. It's always like, you should be always like proud and like proud with your uniqueness and with your culture, and feel free to share to others and respect other differences as well.
Excellent, thank you. Michelle?
I think everyone's kind of said everything. My biggest thing is to join groups and to be very vocal. A lot of people don't know that I'm actually very introverted and I'm very quiet. People would think, yes, people think that's a lie, but that's just who I am as a person. I've never liked talking. I would have panic attacks before I'd go to school or before I did anything, but that's on generalized anxiety. But putting yourself out there, making friends, half the people I speak to now, I didn't know a year ago, and I kind of just went, hey, I'm Michelle, I'm from South Africa. And they're like, oh my gosh, you have a weird accent, let me ask more questions. And then that's how that goes. And then like, oh, we have to have an international friend, call your friends. Great, I have friends now. And that's just kind of how that works. But if you don't put yourself out there, and if you don't go to the mixes, if you don't go to the clubs, if you don't go and get free pizza at the SGA next week, you can't make friends. And that's kind of, putting yourself out there.
I'm going to have to search for evidence of this whole introverted thing. I have yet to see any of that in action, but I'm curious. Callie, how about yourself?
So for me, definitely the number one thing would be ask questions. There is no wrong question. There is no such thing as a bad question or like silly question. Just ask questions, because somebody is going to have that answer for you, and no question's a bad question. So even if you think like, oh, somebody's going to think like this is not good, like just ask it. Like it's better for you to know the answer, because that's going to take you further than not knowing the answer. And then another thing is just be yourself. Like you don't have to become American to try to fit in, because you stand out. You're very unique the way you are, and you stand out. Even though you stand out, you can still make that work for you, and like just be the best self that you can.
Absolutely, that's great advice. All right, so now Melissa left us the heaviest question at the end of the list here for sure. We're not going to finish on a light note. So the question is, does your age, race, racial or ethnic identity, your gender identity, socioeconomic status, or any other identity impact your experience as a student? And if so, how, this is the intersectional portion of our event here. How do those other identities, you're not just an international student. So how else does all that stuff come into play for you as a student, as an international student in the United States? Callie, you want to start us off?
So I actually have a lot to say, but I'm going to just sum it up because that's probably the easiest. So definitely we're going to go to race on this one, because people assume that I'm white, I'm American. So they automatically think, oh, you have money, you have status and that. No, I don't. My grandmother raised me. My parents are not supportive of me studying at all. I'm not in communication with them either because of it. I do not have the millions of funding that people think I do. It's very difficult to get things as a white female student in the US. There is no opportunities because people just naturally assume that I'm being fully funded, which I'm not. And they also just assume things of people, which is really wrong, because not everyone's situation is the same. Everyone is unique to their own. And that makes it very difficult to get like very far in this world, because one, I'm international, two, I'm fully funding myself, and three, it's for me, it's a personal challenge, because I'm in a new country, I'm doing something for the first time that I don't know, and that gives me anxiety because I like things that are very planned out. And with this, it's like I don't know what's going to come next. I don't know what roadblock I'm going to hit, what's going to happen, what's going to fail, what's going to succeed. So definitely, like, that's a big thing for me, like just having that break between being international and then like just having that huge what's the word, like that expectation that you come with when it comes to studying here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Callie. Michelle?
Just to back up like Callie's answer, everyone, like immediately when I say, oh, I'm from South Africa, they're like, oh, but you're white, so you must have money. And that's not true. You know, I was brought up by a single mom who passed away from cancer. She's no longer here. She left me with nothing, no offense to her, but she had nothing to give me. And, you know, that kind of sucks. And I had to figure everything out myself. I'm a first-gen college student. I don't know how to work America's systems. I don't know how to work South African systems, paying taxes in both countries, doing stuff like that. All of that's hard and no one really talks about that. And I am a non-traditional student. I'm almost 30 and everyone else is like, what, 18, 19. Sometimes you occasionally get someone that's like 21 and you're like, cool. But it's hard. And a lot of people, nicely enough, they don't know that I'm not so much older, but that I'm older, you know, and then you get hit by these questions, or why you're in college, like why you're at a 2-year, don't you already have a degree? Don't you already have this? Don't you already have that? And it's like, no, because, you know, I was never afforded the opportunity to study. Not everyone has a college fund. Not everyone can just fund themselves going to college. We can't necessarily get student loans. So everything we do, we have to do cash on hand, or pray that we have a good credit score to get a credit card, which we don't because we're international. So it's just kind of a circle of that. But really just kind of, you know, being like, hey, instead of like looking at all of this, why don't we just be nice to each other? Because sometimes people can get a little nasty with that.
Thank you, Michelle. Rhoda?
Well, I consider my identity as an international student is quite, you know, like different from those who are originally from here, in terms that I may have like different perspective on like sometimes and beliefs, culture, upbringing, and, you know, like mostly like the language barrier itself. It gives me a unique and unforgettable experience as well, which is like, you know, a good thing. And also like I'm having a hard time expressing myself and understanding other people conversation, and even like in my classes. But it made me realize and admire that how other people, my teachers, how they appreciate my effort and, you know, expressing myself and doing my best and respecting it. And other things also, like switching career, because I already finished bachelor's and MBA in my country, and then this is like a quite career change for me to get into a nursing program, and you know, like dealing with this young students, and like they don't, you know, usually don't believe me, like I'm kind of like old already. So it's kind of like, you know, like kind of pressure sometimes, but you know, I kind of like accept it like as a challenge, and, you know, like everyone is unique and we're just gonna do your best and enjoy it.
I miss being old at your age, believe me. Pascal, how about yourself?
I think for me, it's definitely going to be like socioeconomic. Like Michelle did briefly touch on. I think that, you know, being an international student, having to worry about, you know, paying double tuition, and, you know, my mom goes to school right now, and my 2 siblings are they're about to become seniors in high school. So having to worry about, you know, what college choices I make, what school I'm going to, and, you know, just taking extra jobs and being as involved and, you know, trying to make sure that I'm in the know of everything to make sure I get like the best resource I can to go to college. And also make sure that everyone in my family also gets that same opportunity is definitely, I think, a struggle. It is one thing that international students face. So just, you know, being an international student, most times it's really tough because even if you're rich in your country, when you convert the rate to dollars, it's just like, it's not even the same. And, you know, like in my country, I may be like a princess and, you know, I might have so much money, but coming to America after translating, it's like, I could just work in McDonald's, like at this rate. And, you know, you have to pick up extra jobs and all of that. So kind of stretching yourself out thin to also survive, and also while getting a good grade, and, you know, just getting the best out of your educational experience and career as a whole is the biggest struggle that I've faced, or that I think that international.
Thank you, Pascal. Millen?
I mean, all the heavy economic stuff like aside, I guess one thing that impacts my like, social life in college as an Indian is like all the stuff that's normal in India that is not normal here, and like I can't explain to you like how the social stuff is different without making India look like a very, very bad country. Like it'll be like it's completely normal to me and everybody I hang out with, and I can tell you, like, I can't hang out with you because my parents will not let me outside my house, and it's gonna make my parents seem like horribly strict or bad. Yeah, exactly. Like, and they wouldn't understand that, and it would be like, I'm friends with you, but I can't bring a guy over to my house because then they'll kill me, and it'll be like, you can't say that stuff without making your parents seem really bad. And I'm just like, no, I'm really loved, I swear. How do I explain this, right? I guess that's the thing. Like, how, the culture is so different that if you try to explain it, it only makes it worse.
That's a tough one. Absolutely. You had a lot of knowing nods though in the group, I think, when you started talking about that a little bit. There was a lot of heads moving in that one. So that's the end of our structured questions. If the audience has any questions at all, yeah, for the a few moments here to ask anything. If not, then I will turn the reins back over to Melissa Roy. I just want to thank all of you very much. I appreciate you. I appreciate the time you've spent with us this afternoon. I learned a lot, and I really hope that we can continue to improve things on campus for you all and students that are coming in. So, Melissa, back to you.
Thanks, Bart. This was really fantastic. I want to thank all of the attendees for joining us today. I really hope you heard something that you didn't previously know, and that you'll incorporate some of what you heard into your daily interactions with our diverse student body. Of course, I want to thank our program participants, not only for their honesty, but sharing their thoughts, their personal stories, and recommendations with us. I know I took a lot of notes, and I imagine others were doing the same. I also want to thank Rafael Fria Sanchez, our student trustee, who was instrumental in connecting me with our student panels. That was very, very helpful. Finally, I want to thank Strategic Marketing for orchestrating a fantastic Zoom experience as always. I want to put up on the screen now a notice about our next event, which is going to take place on April 25th at 7 p.m. It's a Monday. It is called They Call Me Q. It's an award-winning one-person play that aims to give voice to all of the universal struggles for identity and self-understanding that are experienced by immigrants of all nationalities. I hope you will join us for the play, and there will be a talk back with the actor after it. It will be part of our Unity and Community week of activities, and I think it's going to be really eye-opening for people. I hope you enjoyed today's discussion. I look forward to you joining us again in the future. Have a good day, everyone. Thanks. Bye.